Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all today. My name is Jen Rzasa, and I'd like to welcome you to Altenew and our Creative Challenges weekly fun live session that I host with you guys. And I am thrilled to introduce today's theme, which we will get to soon. But first, I would like to remind everybody that while you are here, if you want a chance to win a $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store, definitely go ahead and share us while we're live, because that's the way that you can enter that. And I am one of the co-founders of Altenew. And this is just a fun chance for everybody to kind of stretch their supplies, push themselves out of their comfort zone, hopefully, which is what I do pretty much every week. I think maybe once or twice I played it safe, but usually I'm doing something that is new to me, or trying a new technique, or even a new layout, or just using my supplies in a way that I wouldn't normally. So it's a really fun way to get myself out of my comfort zone. So I'm hoping it does the same for you guys too. And I just want to say hello also to everybody who is popping in. I'm seeing a lot of friendly faces and names here. So we have Deb is here, Sue is here, Nancy, Melly, and if I miss you, I'm sorry. I can't name everybody, but hello to Alma, hello to Siamara, hello Kay, Kim, Lori. We've got Angela. A lot of you guys are here. And hi from Syracuse. We're Altenew's hometown. Audrey is in Syracuse. So yes, if you didn't know, Altenew is a New York-based company based out of Syracuse in the US. And I don't live in Syracuse, but Tasneem and all of the warehouse employees are there. And the rest of us are all over the country and all over the world. So I am here in Massachusetts, and it's also a nice day here too. So I'm really thrilled because we've been having a lot of rain. It's been cold and rainy. They tricked us with some beautiful weather a few weeks ago, and then they took it back. And thankfully now we're getting it again. So hello to Jay and Allison and everybody else who is here today. Thank you to those of you who have posted and shared. Oh, an Espresso Expressions blog. Espresso Expressions. I like that. So you guys are all here today, and I would love to announce, I guess would be the word, announce the winner from our last challenge. But before I do, I want to share my finished card from last week. So last week, I think may have been something that you guys didn't enjoy, or maybe it was too much of a challenge because we did not have a lot of entries last time. So the theme was to get inspiration from a movie poster and use that as the basis of your project, whether you're grabbing a color scheme, or maybe you're grabbing the layout, or maybe you're grabbing the theme of the movie, or maybe a character from the movie that you want to have represented in your project somehow. And we were very short on entries. I love the card that I created, by the way, which is a card that nobody would ever look at and be like, Jen Rzasa made that. There's no way anybody would see this and think of me. However, it was really fun. So this is the final card that I created, which was based on the Fight Club poster, not the main poster, but I think it was from one of the DVD releases, and it had the two characters in silhouette. If you want to see the poster and how I created this card, definitely check the replay of last week's video. And what I did after I signed off, I believe I just had to make sure everything was fully adhered, and then I did the metallic shimmer paste. So I added the paste down here and a little bit on the sides. I rubbed it on the edges, and I feel like it's kind of a grungy look, but also clean. Is that possible? Can it be clean and grungy? I don't know, but I feel like all the ink blending and the texture is kind of grungy, but I think with the crisp images in the silhouette, that kind of makes it clean. It's basically one layer. So the text is not popped up. I just have it all adhered down. So it has texture, but it's still a one-layer card. Do not pay any extra postage to send this one. So this is going to go right in the mail, easy peasy. So this is what I created. And then give me a moment to share what our winning project is from last week. And if this person is here, which I think they are. You might know that I'm talking about you because this person made a lot of projects. So we didn't have a lot of entries, but there was one person who made many entries, maybe 3 or 4. So I will share. Let's see. Why can't I do that? It won't let me just share that one window anymore. That's kind of strange. So I have to share my whole screen. We will maybe figure this out one day. Okay, so got the share button. So this was the inspiration. Again, one of the few inspirations that this person used, which is a Frankenstein poster. And then here is the tag. So congratulations to Sue for creating your tag. And this is kind of a more literal interpretation, which of course it was one of the options, right? I guess mine was kind of literal too, but not in subject matter, but in the layout and the colors and the look. And Sue took the colors from the poster. And then also, obviously, the Frankenstein image for Frankenstein's monster. Sorry, my apologies. And created this really cute tag. And if you want to see the other projects that were created, please go check out the hashtag. We have hashtag Altenew Challenge Live, so you can see what was created last week and also the other weeks, because all the projects are so fun. And I hope that these are some creative challenges that are helping you guys expand and try new techniques and try new things. So I really like the color blending here. And if you are the person who created this, again, it is Sue. Go ahead and email us at winner@altenew.com so we can hook you up with your $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store. So big congrats to you. So yeah, I don't know if maybe you guys were all short on time. It was maybe a busy week. You didn't have time to craft. Don't forget, you can submit works in progress. So you do not have to be creating and submitting a final project. If you've been here before, you know it's very rare that I finish my project in time. So how can I expect you guys to do the same if I don't even do it? All right, now for this week's challenge, I am wearing something that has to do with it. We had an in-person retreat in Syracuse last summer, and it was this sweet shop party retreat. And I was thinking about sweets because I eat a lot of chocolate. I really enjoy candy, and it seemed like a fun challenge. So our challenge today is Sweet on You. Sorry, I'm glancing off screen. I just needed to make sure I didn't say the name of the challenge wrong. It is Sweet on You. So anything that has to do with sweets, they could be candy sweets, it could be fruit. Fruit is sweet, or you can incorporate the word sweet into your project and then play along, submit what you have, and we'll announce the winners next week. So this is our challenge for today. And I did take 2 handfuls of M&Ms before I started. I would love to say it was in honor of this challenge, but let's be real, I was going to eat them anyway, whether or not we were doing a sweets challenge. All right, let me pop you down and I'll show you some of the things that I grabbed. And I think I've got a little bit of an idea of what we're going to be creating. Yeah, Liz is on Sweet Tooth team. Chocolate is a food group. You are right, Audrey. Absolutely a food group, because it's got benefits too, right? Especially if you're eating dark chocolate. So why not? Let's make it a food group. Let's put it on the pyramid, right? We'll just make like another point on top, right? Do they still use the food pyramid anymore? Or is that outdated? I don't know. But you know, the tops, it's like fats and oils. Let's put like another little point on top, and that'll be the chocolate group. Okay, so let's see what we have brewing for today. Tracy has 2 handfuls on my desk. Yeah, when you're crafting, it's really nice to have something to snack on. So I agree with you guys who are part of the Sweet Tooth fan group over here. All right, so I grabbed the Sugar Rush stencil, and I don't know if I'm going to use this. Again, I make more plans than I have time for, but I'm thinking if I have time for a second project, I'll use this. But this creates like a really cute assortment of candy. I showed this stencil the other day because I actually wanted to use it in a previous challenge because of the gummy worms that I thought were really funny and super cute, like the sour gummies, which I love eating. So I set it aside, and then I was looking at it, I'm like, yeah, maybe today this might be the one. Liz says the pyramid can be covered in chocolate. That's hilarious. I love that. And then Tracy says, I used to count mint chocolate chip as a vegetable. Yeah, mint is a leaf. Let's go for it. I say we get our veggies in that way. And then this is the Tasty Treasures set. Now, if you haven't seen these products before, they're actually limited, which means that when they sell out, we're not going to be restocking them. They were part of that Sweet Shop retreat. Now, some of the retreats that we do with those classes are products that will never be sold in the Altenew store. And then sometimes it's a situation we have here where we have the products for the retreat and then they're released to the public at a later time. So the people who were in the classes, they get the exclusivity for a while, and then they get released at a later time. And then when they sell out, they're gone. So if you do like these products, go get them sooner than later so that you don't miss out. But I was thinking it'd be really cute to stamp some of these, like, I was gonna say jars. They're not jars. What are these things? Apothecary jars. Okay, they're jars. So stamp some of the jars and then put enamel dots in them, because I always want to use enamel dots and I'm struggling every week. You guys, I've been putting so many enamel dots and sequins and things on my live projects because I'm trying to get better at it. And this is an easy way. We could just like make little gumballs and pop them in. So I do have a whole bunch of enamel dots as well. So let's get going. Carrie says snacker. I don't know if you are responding to someone else or just saying that you're a snacker. I am definitely a snacker. Also salty, and I like salty sweet. You know, I really don't discriminate, you guys. It is all good. It is all delicious. But I find that when I'm crafting, I am definitely leaning more towards the sweets. All right, so let's just grab a piece of cardstock here. I think I'm going to die cut these out, so I don't really mind where I'm stamping them at the moment. Just going to put this into my original stamp wheel. And I don't know which ones I want to do, so let's just stamp all three. Now, if you don't want to use enamel dots and you want to just use the stamp fillers, they're here too. So there's like little licorice pieces. We have like peppermint sticks, gumballs, wrapped candies, and some marshmallows, and then a whole bunch of little sweet themed sentiments. But I'm just going to stick to the jars for now. And we do have stencils which act as masks. So you don't even have to use the stamp. If you just want to ink blend some of these apothecary containers and then add your fillings, that way you can do that. Or what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to ink blend just a little bit of shadow to make them look slightly more realistic. And Carrie says she's baking chocolate chip pecan cupcakes right now. Oh, that sounds great. And Audrey, yeah, there's no sticky fingers when you eat M&Ms, or at least they shouldn't be. They say melt in your mouth, not in your hands. However, I do sometimes get the shell melting out on me. You know, it happens. Okay, now I'll be stamping these out with some obsidian pigment ink, which I love. And since I'm going to do a little bit of ink blending on top, I do want to leave them to dry slightly because pigment ink does have a longer dry time than dye ink. So just be aware of that. Some things that you can do to get around it are heat setting, or when your pigment ink is still freshly wet, you can actually sprinkle some clear embossing on it, embossing powder, and then heat the embossing powder. And that is a way to get it to dry quicker, and you get a cool 3D look. That's actually one of the ways that I do black embossing powders. Instead of actually using black embossing powder, using black ink and clear powder, I feel like it yields a crisper result. All right, I missed a little bit right here. So beauty of a stamp positioner, such as the stamp wheel, is we can just go back in and push that. So we have these cute, cute, cute little apothecary jars. Hello to Maria. I see some more people coming in, which is great. Definitely give a hello. Let me know you're here. And also comment if you share us, because that's the only way we'll know that you shared our video while we were live. And then after the live, we will pick a random winner to get that prize. You'll just have to, you'll get tagged in the comments, and then you will have to email the winner at altenew.com email account so that you can redeem the prize. Christine also uses clear embossing powder with black ink. Yeah, it's definitely a crisper result. The thing I find with black embossing powder is that if you get the little stray powdery bits where you don't want them, it's more obvious than if you were using a clear powder or even like a white powder or other colors. The black is just so stark that like every little grain shows, you know, where you made a mistake, where you didn't do a good job with your anti-static. Okay, so we're just gonna peel this off. And like I said, set that aside to dry. I'm not worried if it doesn't dry completely. If I ink blend and I get some of that black going, it's just gonna be more of a shadow. So I'm not too worried about it. But of course, when you're not live and you're crafting in your own home, you can take all the time you need to let it dry, or again, blast it with a heat tool. Okay, so now that we've got these set, I want us to think about the gumdrops. And guys, I am not kidding when I say I've got a lot of unused enamel dots. I've got so many enamel dots. Altenew's got fantastic colors of dots. Really, like, I don't know if it's every color that we have yet, but we do have most of our color families represented in enamel dots. And like, these are like brand new packages, you guys. Okay, look, I got all excited and I used a bunch of gray, but come on, that's not even exciting to use gray. Most of these are brand new packages of enamel dots, never been opened. And this is why I've been challenging myself to, like, you know, actually use them so that they're not just going unused. This is a shame, right? Like, are you guys seeing this and just cringing that they haven't even been used? I've got so many, like, it just keeps going. Okay, so we are definitely going to be making some sweet little gumdrops with all of these enamel dots, right? Oh, look, I used some yellow, right? That's it. Okay, so it's a problem. So I'm definitely going to be working on fixing that problem today. I don't want to adhere my enamel dot gumballs quite yet, because then I won't be able to die cut these. And I also want to do that ink blending first. So let's jump in with the ink blending. Again, there might be a little bit of smudging. It's a-okay. And we have each one with the corresponding positive pieces. So that means you can use this as a mask. Let's say I was creating a 1-layer card, right? And I want you to imagine that if you're creating a 1-layer card, you want to have some depth in your stamping, but you can't just stamp them really on top of each other. Although if they're clear, it would be fine, right? Technically. But I wouldn't want to be distracted by having a whole bunch stamped on top of one another. So you would use the positive mask, placing it like this. And then you can stamp another of the apothecary jars. When you remove the mask, it'll look like the second one you stamped is behind the first one. The other way you can use the positive mask is for ink blending. So if I wanted to blend a background, I would do that. You do need to do the same thing with the little topper, because that's a separate piece. So I wouldn't want to forget to include that topper, but that's a couple ways that you can use these positive masks. However, for me, since I plan on cutting these out, I'm going to use the regular stencil section. So we'll just pop these masks back in. Audrey, she says, it looks like I may have enough for all of the sweet projects, all of your sweet projects. I do. Yes. If you guys were here, we can all like make 10 cards each and use those enamel dots. And I think I'd still have some left over. All right, now I've got to think of my light source. So I'm thinking I want the light to be coming from kind of like a right above angle. So I'm going to be shading down here. I'm also going to add some shading underneath where this lid would be. So if you imagine the lid of the jar would also be casting a bit of a shadow. And for this, I'm just going to use a little bit of gray, maybe a gray blue. I think gray blue might be nice. So we've got the polar bear ink. There we go. So this is just cool. It's if the rest, you look at the rest of the family, it is a blue family, but this one is so light that it has somewhat of a gray look. So I'm just going to start with that. I'll do a little bit of practice blending here first, just so I can make sure I've got a nice light hand. Not too light, not too dark. This is actually very light. It looks like it's not really showing up. You could see it here. But yeah, it's not showing up as well on camera as it is in person. So I'm actually going to go a little bit darker. Let's try that icy water, just so that you guys could see it. Otherwise, I think I would go with the polar bear because I think it's actually more of a realistic look than the icy water will, but it's kind of pointless if you guys can't see what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, so definitely more blue, but I think it'll work for what we're doing. I'm just adding that little bit of shadow. Okay, so let's just move my mess over since I'm constantly making a mess. And I'm going to pull out my 9x12 sticky mat. And that's going to help hold my stencil and my cardstock in place so that while I'm ink blending, I don't need to worry about holding it down. It's also going to hold my ink pad in place. Okay, so we're just going to do that here. I have all of those enamel dots in a stack. Let's not disrupt that mess. I'll just push this up so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Sue says she never knows which way to do the shadow or light. If you're ever unsure, look up a picture. So like just look up empty glass jars, empty glass apothecary jars. And if you want the most realistic look ever, do that because there's going to be shadow on both sides, not just on one. I'll try to show you what I mean as best as I can. But here I am going from the bottom and the side, because if my light is coming from here, I'm going to have the most shadow on that end and on the bottom. But I don't want to keep this side completely bare. I want to add just a little hint, really light, starting off of the stencil, blending inwards. I am using the mini ink blending tool. I'm seeing the message from, I believe it's Nicole behind the badge today, that they're coming back in stock in a couple of days. The minis are my favorite. I talk about them a lot. So I have just a hair, just a little bit of shadow that I added there. And I'm going a little bit heavier on this side, just like this. And then again, some shadow underneath. I'm keeping it very light just to keep it more realistic. But if I peel this off, you guys can see what I did. And it just gives it a little bit of that rounded look that I have more shadow here and then just a slight bit of shadow on this side with the highlight falling like 2/3 over. Okay, so not quite in the center. If your light was coming from here, then the brightest point would be in the center, but I've got it coming towards the side. Now, is it perfect? No. Could I spend a lot of time making it perfect? Yeah, totally. Okay, so that's something you might want to do while you're creating, if you're doing ink blending yourself like this, is just to, again, use a photo reference because I think that helps a lot. And now I'm going to do the same thing over here, just a little bit more on the left side. Not too much up here because this is the top and it is getting more light than you're getting down here. But just a little hint and then a very small bit on this side. And blend that all together. And there we have that. Okay, so let's quickly do the others the same way. Now, it could be cute if I used other light colors. I do want to keep it all the same bluish tone for this card, but if I were to do another variation, it would definitely be fun to do different pastel colors. Now, if anybody is just joining us here, this is the Sweet on You challenge. And if you want to create a card or project, it does not have to be a card. Sue created tags. We've had lots of different project types, and I would love to see more non-cards because it's something that I want to get more into myself. I create mostly cards when I'm doing paper crafting, so it's very inspiring to me to see non-card projects. But if you'd like to play along, upload your project and use the hashtag Altenew Challenge Live. And you need to have some sort of public way for me to find that. So if you have a private account, unfortunately, I won't be able to see it. So you need to have a public account, or you can submit via the Facebook fan group if you're in that, the Altenew fan group. And then I will be able to check out your project. Okay, so just doing some of that ink blending and repeating that process on the lid. Just like that. Oh, Kim's saying the Tasty Treasures bundle is out of stock. Is the whole bundle out of stock, or maybe one or two of the products are in stock? I thought I had checked everything to make sure it was there, but I definitely could have made a mistake. So hopefully it's there. All right, and we're going to just do our last little apothecary jar. Let me fix this. I definitely didn't line up the last one well. So let's give this another go. Okay. And doing my blending. Yeah, Christine, the jars are really cute. And you don't need to just fill them with sweets. If you have like little hearts that you might want to fill them with for like a love or a Valentine's Day project, or you can fill them with like little bows. I think that would be cute if you had little bow stamps. And then after we do this, I'll die cut them, and then we can start thinking about how I'm going to arrange these on my project. I also grabbed a big box of baker's twine, and this box hasn't been touched in, I don't know, probably like 5 years. I bought so much baker's twine. I feel like there was a time when it was like really trendy to like tie bows all over your projects. So I have this box here. It's just like a photo box. I guess it's not filled. It's not like to the brim with twine, but it's definitely like a good amount of twine, right? And lots of different colors. And I just thought this was the coolest, and I'm going to use all of this twine in all of my projects. And then I really kind of never did. And then I forgot that the box existed until today when I was thinking, what might go good with these? What if we tied little twine bows on them? So that's definitely an option here. Put the koi fish in one, Tracy. That is such a cute idea. That really is cute. All right, Kim is saying that Just has the stamp set. Okay, so if you got the stamp set and you wanted to do this look, you definitely, without the masking stencils, you definitely can use a smaller ink blending tool. Like we've got some tiny ones. This is the micro blending brush number 7, and you can just do the same thing. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing, but like ink blending and going like that around the edge. Okay, if you don't have the die, you can clearly fussy cut around. There's ways to do it, but yeah, unfortunately, if the die set is sold out, we are not restocking on that set. But we do have other really cute like vases and similar container dies that you can also do the same thing with if you want to get that candy look. All right. I have made quite the mess, so let's move my twine out of the way. stencil, we could move that aside. I'm putting this on my computer, which is where I always stash things now so I don't lose them. The important things that I need get stashed on the computer while I'm live so that it doesn't just end up on the floor. Okay, so I'll keep the ink out just in case I want to add some more shading somewhere else. And trusty mini blossom. Got my plates. And I have my satin masking tape. So let's grab those dies. I am just going to have to cut that panel down a little bit because it's slightly bigger than the plates. For our mini blossom, we have the 3x6" plates. So that helps keep the size really compact. However, you can't send through an A2 panel. That's why I'm just going to trim it into a second piece, but okay. So we'll get 1, 2, 3 of these dies out. And we also have dies for the candy elements. So if you did want to use the ones from the stamp set and you happen to have that die set, then you can do that. And again, fussy cutting will be the way to go if you don't have the dies at all. All right, trim this in half. And use some of that tape just to temporarily adhere. I also have another piece of tape from my last crafting session that I'll pull off of my desk. Get to reuse that guy. Okay. Sue says, besides making tags, cards, I like to make postcards, and postcards are 4x6. Oh, that's cool. Do you send them like a postcard, just like sticking the postage on the flat card? I'm curious if that's how you do it, because that's pretty cool. Oh, hold on. I think I grabbed the wrong plate. Yep, I grabbed 2 A plates. Helps if we have an A plate and a B plate. I do have spare plates. Okay. That's much better. Carrie's asking, does anyone make ATCs? So if you're not sure what an ATC is, it's an artist trading card. I've actually never made them before. I know that a lot of people do create them, and then just like you would expect from a trading card, you give them to other artists and then you collect their cards. So it's a really cool way to engage with other artists and crafters in the community. So it looks like Sue does. Sue creates ATCs. Yeah, I've never done that before. I am getting so excited about putting those enamel dots in these jars. Oh, you guys, do I need to do like different color schemes in each apothecary jar? What are you thinking? Because I could just do like rainbow colors in each one, or I could have different color schemes. So like one could have like blue and white, another could have red and orange. I don't know. Mary Jane used to make ATCs. I'm just keeping up with your conversations as you chat in the comments. Hi, Roberta. Nice to have you here. Oh, I did not place my die properly, but that's okay. I don't mind that the outline is just shifted a little bit there. Yeah, Carrie's saying it looked cute, or it could look cute, each jar holding a certain color. Again, you know, I've got enough enamel dots to do any color schemes I want. Let's see if there are any other ideas in the comments from you guys. Lots of color for Sweet Shop. Yeah, that does make sense, right? And I could do different sizes. Maybe that's what I should do. So they can have similar color schemes. However, each jar holds a different size. Like the smallest jar can have all the tiny enamel dots. Yeah, let's think about this. Okay. I'm going to grab all my dots. Clear, as much as I love the idea of using clear, it doesn't work for this project. So get out of here, clear. Don't need you. I think I need like really bright saturated. Each jar could be a color of the rainbow. Wouldn't that be so fun if you did like a landscape card and you had 7 jars going across and each one had different color of the rainbow? I do love that idea. All right, these are cute. These like lime green. Love these colors, the Aqualicious or Aqua Island, sorry. These are awesome. Super bright fun from Passion Poppy. Too muted. Too muted. Too muted. Beautiful colors, but not from Candy. Okay, let's go over here. These are awesome. The Carnival Magic. Again, similar to the Passion Poppy. That's great. That's great. Nice and bright. Beautiful blues for deep blue seas. Oh, Sweet Dreams are also awesome. Okay. Zesty Lemon Lime. All right, I think if I pull from these colors, that should be good. Loving it. Okay, I think I'm going to do the size thing just because it'll help me make a decision. Because if I tried to make a different color scheme for each apothecary jar, I think I'd be here longer than I wanted to, just sifting through colors and going through color options. So I'm going to take a more random approach of just randomly putting lots of dots, but keeping the small ones here, medium, and large. No, I'll do the large ones. No, yeah, large ones in the sky. So small, medium, and large enamel dots. The heart ones would be cute. All right, I'll put some hearts in too. I'll kind of like mix it up. So medium right here. Just kind of randomly placing them for now. And then as we fill it, hopefully it'll look more intentional. Guys, this is a good stash buster. Good way to use your supplies that you've been hoarding. Okay, that's good. I don't want too many of one color. Okay, Whispering Woodland. I could always come back if I want to use other colors here. So let's get some of these greens. This is really fun. Thank you for sharing, Vicki. I appreciate it. These are so big. I think just one of each color would work up here. Let me center this so you could see a little bit better. And as I'm doing this, I'm curious how many of you have like sweets themed products, or if you're going to be entering using the word sweet. So you can have "You're so sweet" as a greeting or a sentiment on your project, or you could definitely handwrite the word sweet if you'd like to. Oh, also, you guys, I'm not pushing these down fully right now, just because if I need to scoot them around to make them look better in the jars, I want to have the ability to do that. So they're not getting completely pushed down. Vicki says, great way to use up a size that I rarely use. Yeah, I think everyone has their preferred sizes when it comes to embellishments and enamel dots. I tend to use more of the smaller, medium size embellishments, because embellishments scare me. So the smaller they are, the less I worry about them, I guess. Oh, I love these colors together. This would be a great color scheme if I just kind of stopped here with these blues and yellows. Pretty, pretty. Okay, let's stop with that. Carrie says, I have some chocolate themed stamps and dies from other companies, but nothing candy-like from Altenew. You don't have to use Altenew products. So I believe I have mentioned that before, but it's always worth reminding. I understand that some of you may not have Altenew products at all. Maybe you're new to Altenew and you're watching lives to figure out if, actually that's so similar to the last color I used. Let me put this one away. And you're, what was I saying? So maybe you're just trying to see if you like Altenew products. So that's why you're checking out the lives and you don't have them yet. Maybe you're new to crafting, you don't have a big stash yet. Or maybe the products you have from Altenew don't satisfy the challenge prompt. That's fine. You can use other companies. Would I like to see Altenew products? Of course. If you've got them, use them. But I understand that might not always be possible. So make it work for you. Putting that one there. Getting another one of these big guys out. I definitely think we need some pinks. So let's see if we can do that. Amy, thank you for sharing. If you guys are coming late, I would definitely recommend you check out the replay, because then you can see from the beginning my finished card from last week and also who our challenge winner is for the past week. And you can catch up on what we're working on. But I am making these little candy gumdrops, and I did say I was going to use some hearts. So let's throw in a little secret heart over here. Here we go. So cute. And I don't know how many more I'm going to be able to fit, but I'm down to my last enamel dots that I pulled out. I feel like this one's looking a little sad over here. Like he needs a little bit more. Let's do a second pink. It's a great color. And this is the Passion Poppy. These are a really nice bright coral color. Maria's asking about where you post your project for the challenge. You just need to post it using our hashtag. So we use hashtag Altenew Challenge Live. And that way I can find your projects when I'm going through and checking them out after this goes live. Oh, I just scooted that off by accident. Like I said, I'm not pushing them down yet. So we have some runaway dots. Yeah, so as long as you use our hashtag, then I'll be able to find it. But it does need to be public for me to find it. So if you have a private Instagram account or a private Facebook account or social media, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to find your project. So you need to have some public way of sharing it. But a lot of people, I would say most people share by using our Facebook group. There's an Altenew Facebook fan group. If you're not part of that, then you can just go in and request to join, and then that will go through so you can be part of that group. And it's a great group, just in general. I think you should be in it, especially if you're new to crafting, or especially if you're new to Altenew, because you can see our products in use by other crafters that are going ahead and creating things to share. And you don't need to be part of a challenge or anything. You could just say, hey, look what I made. This is really cool. Or you can ask questions like, oh, you guys, I'm new to Altenew and I need some great sentiment stamps. Do you have any recommendations? So you can use that group to find out information about crafty products, or you can do some troubleshooting. Like I've seen people do things like, oh, I'm having trouble layering this die. Can somebody help me? And everyone's super nice and really willing to help. Carrie, yeah, everyone should join the fan group. It's a wonderful, encouraging community. Yeah, it's really, really nice. And I wish I spent more time on Facebook, because I actually don't. A lot of you may know I have a new son, and other than going on Facebook for work, I don't really use it much anymore. So I wish I had more time to go and spend on that community because it's really nice. All right, I'm happy with this. It's not, I was gonna say it's not perfect. It's good, right? If it was a real gumdrop or gumball, they'd probably be falling more. There wouldn't be empty space in between, but I'm okay with it. I think it looks really cute. So I'm just going to use my thumb here and push them down. And next I want to grab some of that baker's twine and we'll see if I can tie some bows. Sue says, what fun candy dots. I remember as a kid going to the penny store and getting candy dots on a strip of paper. Oh, I remember that paper candy. Oh my gosh. You would end up eating more paper, I think, than candy. And they were just like little bits of sugar, right? Like they really weren't the most delicious candy ever. I remember as a kid, I used to be obsessed with candy necklaces. And those got gross fast because if you ever eaten a candy necklace, it's really just strung sugar candy on a piece of elastic that you wear on your neck. But as you're eating it, it's kind of like getting wet from your saliva. Like if you just like bite off some candy, like the candies next to it get wet. And pretty soon you're just like wearing a wet rope of elastic around your neck with some random candy pieces. But it was a fashion statement, you know, it wasn't just snacking. It was cool. The cool kids did it. All right. I'm loving this color. I wish I could tell you more about this twine. It's not Altenew. We don't sell twine, but I have accumulated this so much over the years. It's probably this company, the Twinery. Do they still even exist? I don't know. But most of the twine I have is from the Twinery. I've got some random unmarked ones. This one is pink paisley. Those are really unique colors. Yeah, so I would guess this is probably the Twinery. Okay, so let's tie some bows. Do they all need a bow or just one? Maybe I'll just do one for right now. Let's think about the arrangement. Maybe something like that. So we'll put a bow on this one. Carrie says, I hardly ever get out my twine. We also have a stamp set called Tied with Love. I'm pretty sure it's called. And it has faux twine stamps. It's an older set, so I'm not sure if it is still in stock. But if you want the look of twine without actually putting twine on your projects, you could do that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Tied with Love. We'll get a link in the comments if that's still available. I'm getting real quiet now because I'm concentrating on my on my twine tying. Okay, cute. Just trying to stop it from being all twisty. This is some old twine, you guys. It's been in a knot for many, many years. Okay, I'm happy with that. It's twisted, but that's fine. What I used to do if my bows would get twisted is I would just like lick my fingers and wet the twine. And I remember that would help like keep it into position without being so twisty. I could also retie it if I really wanted to, but I'm okay with it being a little twisted. It's just a little more fun. Tracy, yeah, Altenew has metallic thread. So if you did want to tie with thread, you could. I might trim these a little bit shorter, but let's keep it like that until I arrange my project. Now I'm looking at time. Of course, I don't have time to make another project as I was maybe hoping I would. However, maybe I can do some stenciling on this card in the background, or I might change my mind in a minute, you guys. Just, I'm quite fickle like that. But let's see if I can imagine it. So here's a plain card panel. I've mentioned it before, but it's worth saying again, is that I always craft on a flat card panel because to me it's easier than trying to work on a card base that's like flopping open as you create, and then you're always like opening it up, trying to smash it down flat. But also because for storage, it's easier for me to store just flat panels. And then when I'm ready to send the card, then I would pop it on a card base at that point. Okay, so if I'm going with these two in the back, this one in the front, do I have a chance to put this candy anywhere? I could, but honestly, I think it would take away from the cuteness of everything else here. So we'll just have to put this aside for another day, the Sugar Rush stencil set. Okay, so let's grab a sentiment from the set. Love and sweet treats, or a sweet hello. I like how a sweet hello is a little bit larger of a sentiment. So we'll go with that one. I'll bring out my trusty acrylic block. I'm a crazy person who likes to stamp greetings on an acrylic block. Let's get it lined up. I'm sorry I'm putting it down here, but it helps if I get my head over it. And I can't do that with the camera in the way. So just placing this on. I'll use the same black ink from before. I could bring my stamp wheel away because I don't need to use that anymore today. The Obsidian Pigment ink. Oh, thank you, you guys. Some people are commenting it is cute. So darling. Okay, so now we have a sweet hello. Love it. This is a Jen card, you guys. Right? You look at this and you think, yeah, Jen probably made that. This one wasn't. It's like two totally different vibes. But I really like how both of them came out. So, all right. And I'm just going to use a chamois cloth to clean off that ink. Thank you, Kim. And let's do these two just flat against the card base, and then this one on foam tape, just to keep it simple. If you really wanted to add more dimension, you can use a thicker foam tape or have 2 layers, but then it does get a little bit trickier if you do want to mail them. So I'm just going to keep these two being flat. So I could have just stamped it directly onto the card base, but when I was starting my card, I wasn't really sure where it was going to go. So that's how I ended up die cutting them. But you certainly could recreate this card and just stamp those elements directly onto the card base. Tracy says the M&Ms aren't working. I want gumdrops. I will always go back to M&Ms. So M&Ms, I think, are my go-to, partly because we have an M&M dispenser in our kitchen. So it's really easy to just walk on by, stick your hand underneath, and they just fill up your hand. So M&Ms are always going to be in my life. But I love eating Kit Kats. I would say that might be number 2. Guys, just like before, I'm not sticking this down yet because I just don't want to push it until I am happy with the placement of everything. So just temporarily plopping it on. And then, yeah, as candies go, I love sour candy. So if I go to a candy shop, I love the sour belts. They have like sour strawberry candy belts. Those are like amazing. I really, really love sour candy. And of course, Sour Patch Kids, anything sour is pretty great in my opinion. All right, this is our Instant Dimension foam tape. I'm just going to cut off a few pieces to put behind this apothecary jar. Carrie likes peanut M&Ms. Yeah, the M&M dispenser is quite dangerous. And then you can't even be sneaky about it because since it's like an automated dispenser, you have like the motor sound. So if I wanted to like sneak some candy, like, so that, not like I would need to hide my candy consumption from my husband, but you know, you sometimes get a little embarrassed by how often you go back to the candy dispenser. It's like you hear the sound of it and then the sound of the M&Ms coming out. So yeah, there's no hiding. You have to be shameless when it comes to consuming from the candy dispenser, but it's a cute one too. It's like a vintage looking like rocket ship. I think it was sold by Macy's, if I recall. I got it quite a while ago. And it's not just for M&Ms. I think it's for any similarly shaped candy, like if you like Skittles or whatever, you could put that in, but it's always going to be M&Ms for me. And mostly the regular M&Ms. I love peanut butter M&Ms, but I'm not in the mood for those as often as just plain regular M&Ms. All right, we are wrapping this up. My friends, I am finishing a card in time after I just told everybody at the start of this live how I very infrequently finish my projects, but we are wrapping this one up. Okay, I think the heights of everything look good because I want to have variation of the bases, but also variation on the top. So I might move this one up just a little bit, and then I can press them down. Okay. Make this one a little bit straighter. Good. And then this guy up front. A sweet hello. Okay. Fabulous. So now this would be ready to get sent out once I put a card base to the back. And it's also fun to put them on colored card bases, especially now that Altenew has all of that awesome cardstock, all the colored cardstock that's in the 8.5 by 11 size. So something like this would be the perfect contender for a colored card base, just because it's such a colorful card anyway with all of the gumdrops. And then with the little bit of twine here, I'm really happy with how it came out. All right, let me pop you guys up so I could give a proper goodbye. And yeah, so this was a sweet project and a sweet challenge that I really hope that you guys join in, and make sure that if you do play along, you do share your projects with hashtag Altenew Challenge Live, because that's the only way that I can find it is if you use that hashtag. And if you are a winner, then next week I will announce and share your project, and you will win a $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store. And an even easier way to win is by sharing while we're live. Since I'm signing off in the next probably 30 seconds, you better do it like right now if you want a chance to do it for today. Otherwise, I will be seeing you again next Tuesday at the same time to do our next challenge. And it's going to be another fun one. If you want like a sneak of what the challenges are, you guys should go on to YouTube and on maybe not on Facebook, but definitely on YouTube, because there's like an upcoming lives thing that you can see, and you can find out what the challenges are ahead of time. So if you want to play along and you need to maybe gather your supplies, or even if you wanted to buy something to use for the challenge, you definitely don't have to, but you can do that, and you can get the information on the challenges in advance that way. So definitely do that. And thanks again to everybody for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful and crafty day. Bye-bye.